Let me give you a warning, sharper than steel and heavier than any burden you've yet carried. If you do not hold this one thought in your mind all day, you will fail. Not once, not sometimes, not occasionally. You will fail in everything. I have watched men with genius fall. I have watched men with talent, riches, education, charm, and strength collapse under the weight of wasted thoughts, not because the world defeated them, not because they lacked opportunity, but because they did not fix one single thought in their mind and hold it there with discipline. They let the day choose their thoughts. They let their fears speak first. They let their emotions rule. And the law does not forgive such weakness. Understand this now. You are either ruled by your chosen thought or you are ruled by drift. There is no middle ground. There is no compromise. There is no freedom without mental domination. You were not made to think 50 things. You were made to direct one burning thought and drive it deep into the subconscious until the universe bends to it. All power flows from that discipline. Without it, you are a drifter, a man whose mind is ruled by weather, by gossip, by moods, by chance. I tell you now what every successful man in history knew. The only freedom you truly have is the power to choose your dominant thought. And if you surrender that power, you surrender your results, your success, your destiny. Carnegie held the thought of steel empire and servant leadership until the end. Edison held the thought of illumination for all mankind and never let failure speak louder. Lincoln held the thought of national unity through fire, blood, and death itself. They did not just remember these thoughts. They repeated them, they guarded them, they fed them. And now I ask you, what thought have you permitted to rule your day? Is it the thought of purpose, or is it the thought of fear? Is it the thought of your definite chief aim, or the echo of doubt someone else planted in you? Do you rise and say, I choose what I think? Or do you allow complaint, worry, hesitation, and weakness to install themselves in your mind before you've even made your bed? Hear me now. No man is defeated by conditions. Every man is defeated by undirected thought. And the worst defeat is the subtle one, the slow leak, the man who drifts not because he's weak, but because he's distracted. Do not be that man. You will now be shown how to take hold of a single thought and make it your foundation. You will learn how to feel it, speak it, repeat it, guard it, and live by it until you become it. If you obey what you're about to hear, your entire life will shift. Your results will begin to obey your command. Your mind will become a fortress, not a playground for fear. But if you treat this message as entertainment, if you nod but do not act, if you agree but do not apply, then I promise you, you will drift back into the same condition that has already betrayed you. So I ask you plainly, will you think like a king or drift like a coward? Will you install power or repeat weakness? Because one thought rules all, and you must choose it now. Let us begin. Part 1. Fix this one. Thought or fix nothing at all. A man does not fall because of one mistake. He falls because the thought he held before the mistake was already broken. The results of your life are not the fruit of chance nor fortune. They are the result of the one thought you obey above all others. That thought sits on the throne of your mind, and it rules your actions, your emotions, your attitude, and your results. You may think your mind is a field of many ideas, many aims, many possibilities, but this is not true. At any moment, only one thought sits in power. Only one directs the rest. If that thought is fear, you will hesitate. If it is doubt, you will delay. If it is faith, you will rise. If it is your definite chief aim, you will move forward with clarity, discipline, and strength. Every man has a mental throne, and every day something sits on it. Most men allow that throne to be filled by the loudest thought, the first worry, the strongest distraction. But the builder, the one who knows power, is ruthless about what sits there. He places his chief aim on the throne, and nothing else is permitted to rule. If you do not guard this throne, you will be ruled by intruders. Doubt will take the throne when you are tired. Fear will sit there when the world resists. Comparison, complaint, procrastination, these are thieves. But they cannot enter unless you leave the gate open, and that gate is your attention. Let me now state this clearly, so no man may mistake me. If you fail to hold one single dominant thought, one that builds, you will fail in everything. Not because life is cruel, but because you have surrendered your power of direction. And when direction is lost, action becomes random, results become accidental, and life becomes chaos. I have seen it. The scattered man who reads one idea today, speaks another tomorrow, changes his goal next week. He holds no single thought. He calls it flexibility, but it is drift. He is never rooted, never rising, never real. He wears the mask of ambition, but his mind is a revolving door of noise, and in time he becomes bitter, not because he had no chance, but because he never chose a single thought and made it obeyed. Contrast this with the single-minded builder. Think of Andrew Carnegie. From boyhood, he held one vision: to create organized industrial wealth that would serve the people. That thought grew stronger every year. He did not allow fear to sit beside it. He did not entertain 10 dreams. He held one. He emotionalized it. He repeated it. He executed on it. And the world had no choice but to yield. Why? Because Carnegie did not just think. He ruled thought. He chose thought. And then he repeated it until the world itself conformed to it. Now let me ask you, what thought rules your mind at this very hour? What idea, what sentence, what image sits on the throne of your mind? Is it worthy of your purpose, or is it something you did not even choose? Because here is the law. If you let the day choose your thought, the day will destroy your direction. You cannot allow the outside world to assign your dominant thought. If you do, you have already lost. You have given the throne to noise. You must rise each morning and install the thought, not casually, not silently, with voice, with conviction, with emotion. You must say aloud, "This is who I am. This is what I build. This is the thought I hold. All other thoughts must bow." Let me speak now of a man I once knew. He was clever, ambitious, full of ideas, but he never fixed on one. He had dreams in every direction, a goal for every season, and a new aim each month. But no single thought was ever repeated long enough to become law. He was ruled by excitement, not direction. And so he did many things, but completed nothing. He died tired and unknown. Do not become that man. Hold one thought, speak it, live it, defend it, and you will be forced to build something solid. Because the world bows to those who refuse to change direction. You may ask, but what if I'm unsure of which thought to choose? Then choose the one that serves your chief aim. Choose the one that builds strength. Choose the one that leads forward. It does not need to be perfect. It needs to be definite. And once chosen, you must protect it. You must repeat it. You must refuse to think anything that weakens it. You must become intolerant of mental trespassers. This is not about positive thinking. This is not about wishing. This is about domination of thought, which becomes domination of life. Now I give you a sentence that must be spoken until it becomes bone deep. I hold only the thought that builds. I permit no rivals in my mind. I walk in direction. I live by one idea. Say it now. Say it with breath. Say it until your eyes sharpen. Say it until your voice changes. Say it until you believe it. Because once you believe it, everything changes. The confused man becomes clear. The tired man becomes energetic. The fearful man becomes certain. The drifting man begins to walk a straight line. This is the great secret. You do not need 100 thoughts. You need one, held long enough, spoken loud enough, lived deep enough. Let others change course. Let others entertain distraction. Let others obey the world. You will obey the thought you have chosen. And that thought will build your life. Let us move forward. Part 2. The mind moves in the direction of its most emotional thought. You are not moved by the loudest thought in your mind. You are moved by the one you feel the deepest. It may whisper. It may not shout. But if it is charged with emotion, it will guide your steps. It will dictate your attitude, alter your posture, change your speech, because the subconscious does not follow volume, it follows feeling. That is why many men speak of faith but live in fear. They declare boldness but walk in caution. Their minds recite affirmations, but their hearts are tied to doubt. Why? Because their strongest emotions are linked to what they fear, not to what they desire. And the subconscious listens not to what you say once, but to what you feel most often. You must hear this law and never forget it. Thought plus emotion equals instruction. And the subconscious obeys that instruction as if it were law carved in stone. When you tie emotion to a belief, you burn it into your inner mind. And once the inner mind believes it, the outer life begins to reflect it automatically. Lincoln held the thought of national unity with such moral intensity that no war, no criticism, no failure could remove it from his mind. He did not simply believe in union, he felt it. He felt it with the pain of divided men, with the weight of national sorrow, with the fire of moral duty. And because he felt it, it became real. You must now ask yourself, not what do I believe, but what do I feel most deeply every day? Do you feel your purpose, or do you merely remember it? Do you speak your aim with conviction, or do you mention it like a passing hope? If your dominant emotion is tied to doubt, then your dominant instruction is failure. Every time you speak a negative thought with feeling, you install it into your identity. When you say, I can't do this, and feel it in your chest, you are not speaking words. You are giving a command. And the subconscious, faithful and unquestioning, accepts it and begins to organize your habits, your speech, and your results around it. This is why fear spreads so easily. Because fear is always emotional. It is never intellectual. No man ever became paralyzed by fear because he thought it through. He became paralyzed because he felt it. And when he repeated it with feeling, the mind took it as law. You must now reverse the process. You must begin tying emotion to your aim. You must begin speaking your purpose aloud, not just with clarity, but with fire. You must feel it in your body. You must charge every repetition with strength, because only then will the subconscious take it as law and begin to move everything in your life toward it. Edison held the thought of the electric light in his mind through thousands of failures. He did not merely recite success, he felt it. He saw the light. He imagined it in homes. He envisioned it changing the world. And he spoke of it, not with curiosity, but with certainty. And because his emotion was tied to victory, even failure could not make him drift. This is your new discipline. To feel your purpose more deeply than your fear. To speak your aim until your body vibrates with it. To rehearse your belief with the same emotion you once gave to doubt. You are not weak. You are undisciplined in emotional repetition. Correct it, and you will begin to move in power. Say this now. I feel my purpose in my bones. I speak it with fire. I think it with feeling. And I repeat it until it becomes my law. Say it again. Say it with breath. Say it until it stops feeling like performance and starts feeling like your nature. Because when your purpose becomes your deepest emotional habit, you will act from it without hesitation. You will walk into rooms with certainty. You will make decisions without second guessing. You will stop needing permission to believe, because belief will be installed. Men do not fail because they lack information. They fail because they emotionally identify with limitation. They have more feeling for the reasons it won't work than for the reasons it will. And their minds, like loyal workers, obey the loudest emotion. You are not one of those men. From this day forward, you will rehearse only what builds you. You will feel only what directs you. You will install emotion into your belief, not into your fear. You will become emotionally loyal to your purpose, and in doing so, you will begin to move in the direction of power. You do not need to remove fear completely. You only need to starve it. And the way to starve fear is to feed faith, not once, but hourly, not weekly, but emotionally, not when you feel good, but especially when you don't. Let me say this plainly. No thought lives long in the mind unless it is fed with feeling. Feed the right one. When you feel yourself slipping, do not argue. Do not analyze. Just speak. Just feel. Just repeat. I am the one who holds this purpose. I was born to build it. I was born to live it. I feel it now. And then act. Action tied to emotional thought creates rhythm. Rhythm creates habit. Habit creates character. And character becomes your future. You must feel your way into a new identity. You must rehearse your faith with such fire that fear no longer feels at home in you. You must become obsessed with holding one powerful thought and feeling it every single day. This is the secret of every man who ever rose. He did not simply believe his thought, he became emotionally married to it. He repeated it, he spoke it, he felt it, until there was no room left in him for doubt. This is how you build a new self, not through information, through emotional repetition of a definite idea. Let others try many things. Let others live in uncertainty. Let others carry 1,000 half-felt thoughts. You will feel only one. You will live only one. And because of that, you will win. Let us move forward. Part 3. The chief aim is the compass. Lose it, and you're already lost. A man without a chief aim is like a ship without a rudder, drifting with the current, moved by every wave, reaching no shore. He may appear busy, he may appear thoughtful, but his energy is scattered. His days are full, yet his results are empty. He does not move forward because he has never fixed his direction. He is ruled by reaction, not by decision. The most tragic failure is not the man who tried and lost. It is the man who never defined what he was trying to win. And so he ends his life with nothing, not because he lacked ability, but because he lacked a compass. He lived without a center. He let the winds of opinion and the tides of fear govern him. Your definite chief aim is not a decoration. It is not a dream or a hobby. It is your commanding purpose. It is the one thing that gives meaning to your hours, power to your words, and unity to your actions. Without it, every thought becomes a stranger, every mood becomes a master, and every day becomes drift. Henry Ford fixed one thought in his mind and did not let it go. I will build a motor car so cheap that any man can own one. He did not change it. He did not water it down. He did not poll his neighbors or wait for the world's permission. That thought became his compass. And everything, every action, every hire, every system was built to serve it. You must choose your compass thought, not 100, not 10, one, the single idea that will make all other thoughts organize, the one idea that, if built, would give meaning to your days. And once chosen, you must guard it with fire. Without this aim, your dominant thought will be assigned by the world. You will wake up each day and pick up whatever thought the world places in your hands. One day it will be comparison. The next day it will be fear, then distraction, then envy, and none of these will lead you anywhere. They will burn your time. They will poison your will, and you will call it life. I do not teach men to dream. I teach men to fix direction and obey it. You do not need a dream. You need a command. And that command is your chief aim. When spoken daily, when felt deeply, when tied to every decision, it becomes the law of your life. Repeat this daily and repeat it aloud. I know my purpose. I repeat it with clarity. I permit no thought that opposes it. I live by direction. I walk in one straight line. The world will try to pull you sideways. Your friends will offer distractions. Your fears will whisper better options. But the man who walks in a straight line does not listen. He speaks his purpose in the morning and then walks into the world with a ruled mind. Your subconscious cannot move resources until the order is given. It does not move on vagueness. It waits for clarity, and it waits for repetition. One statement repeated with feeling, backed by purpose, that is the trigger. Speak your aim aloud. Write it. Carry it. Let no day pass without repeating it. Let no mood silence it. Let no fear override it. Speak it when you are tired. Speak it when you are tempted. Speak it when no one else believes in you. Because belief begins with repetition, not applause. The most dangerous enemy of your aim is not failure. It is distraction. It is the slow turning of your eyes from the path. One thought of doubt, one excuse, one delay, and the compass breaks, and the direction is lost. Your job is not to avoid hardship. Your job is to keep your compass alive in hardship. The man who holds direction in suffering is the man who rises from it stronger, wiser, and richer. Do not confuse activity with purpose. A busy man without a chief aim is just a faster drifter. Do not confuse education with direction. A clever man without a compass is a dangerous fool. Direction is everything. Purpose is everything. A single aim turns weakness into fuel, failure into lesson, and action into empire. Write your aim, speak your aim, feel your aim, and tie every other thought to it, or cast the others out. If it does not serve your aim, it has no right to live in your mind. Every day without repeating your aim is a day ruled by drift. Every hour not rooted in direction is an hour surrendered to fear. You must take that back. And you do it by repetition. You do it by decision. You do it by one thought spoken again and again until it becomes your identity. Let others chase 10 ideas. Let others live by whim. Let others define success by reaction. You will define it by the firmness of your direction. You will define it by the strength of your compass. You will define it by your ability to say, "This is who I am. This is what I build. This is the only thought I will hold today." Let us move forward. Part 4, you must become intolerant of any thought that does not serve you. The mind is not a hotel for every wandering thought. It is a temple, a throne room, a workshop, and no uninvited guest should be allowed to enter it without being challenged, interrogated, and removed if unworthy. The man who tolerates weak thoughts becomes a slave to them. He does not fall in a day, but in 1,000 accepted moments of drift. You are not here to negotiate with fear. You are not here to listen to every doubt that rises from yesterday. You are here to rule thought. And ruling means being ruthless. It means you will cast out anything that does not align with your purpose, no matter how reasonable it sounds. Because drift always sounds reasonable. Weakness always wears the mask of wisdom. Most men do not fail from lack of strength. They fail from tolerating weakness in thought. They allow it to linger. They entertain it. They say, "Just this once. It's only one doubt. It's only one excuse." But weakness, once permitted, grows bold. It calls others. And soon the mind becomes a place of noise, not power. I tell you now, you must become intolerant, not of people, not of circumstances, but of any thought that contradicts your chief aim. If it weakens you, it is your enemy. If it delays you, it is your enemy. If it distracts you, it is your enemy. And you must remove it, not tomorrow, not later, but now. Think of the farmer. He does not allow weeds to grow among his crops. He does not reason with them. He does not delay their removal. He uproots them. He clears the field because he knows what grows in the field becomes the harvest, and your mind is no different. If you do not cast out unworthy thoughts, they will become your character. If you do not speak against complaint, it will become your nature. If you do not silence fear, it will become your decision maker. And no man can rise with a mind that answers to fear. Let me tell you of Charles Schwab. When Carnegie placed the direction of his steel empire in Schwab's hands, Schwab did not permit himself to think contrary to that aim. He cut out distractions. He refused to tolerate the reasonable doubts of lesser minds. His loyalty was not to ease, it was to direction. And that loyalty made him one of the greatest industrial leaders in American history. You must be that strict with your mind. You must train it to answer only to truth, only to faith, only to purpose. And when another thought arises, you must ask, "Does this serve my chief aim?" If the answer is no, cast it out. Burn it. Replace it. Do not pet the snake and act surprised when it bites you later. Your subconscious mind is not wise, it is obedient. It takes whatever you feed it, and it grows it. It follows the loudest voice. And if the loudest voice in your mind is complaint or comparison or hesitation, that is the voice it will obey. It will create for you a life that matches the thoughts you tolerated. So you must become loud in your faith, loud in your purpose, loud in your direction, and silent in your excuses. Because every thought is a seed, and every seed becomes a result. You do not need more power. You need to weed your mind. Ask yourself every hour, does this thought serve my purpose? If not, reject it. Don't analyze it. Don't argue with it. Just remove it. Replace it with what does serve you. Speak the opposite. Command the truth. This is not cruelty. It is strength. It is the discipline that separates the builder from the drifter. It is the law that every strong man obeys in secret. The world may see their actions, but the throne of their success is built in the mind by daily rejection of what does not belong. Do not allow your past to enter the temple if it speaks weakness. Do not allow other people's doubts to enter. Do not allow what you see on the outside to infect what you know on the inside. Be fierce, be vigilant, be selective. The mind is not free unless it is guarded. Say this aloud. I destroy what does not serve me. I protect the temple of my mind. I think by will. I build by command. I hold only what makes me rise. Say it again. Not as poetry, but as war. Because this is war. A war between the old and the new. A war between the aim and the distraction. A war between power and permission. You will win this war. Not by argument, but by refusal. You will walk through your day and speak only what affirms your aim. You will correct yourself when your language drifts. You will redeclare your truth when your emotion slips. You will treat the mind like holy ground, because it is. And every day you do this, the weeds grow weaker. The old thoughts grow quieter. The voice of purpose grows louder. And your entire identity begins to reflect the one who permits only power to live in his mind. Let others say, it's okay to be negative sometimes. Let others say, you're just being real. You are not here to be real. You are here to become the man you were born to be. And that requires direction, control, intolerance, and repetition. From this day forward, you will be loyal to only one thing, the thought that builds. All others will be denied entry, and that discipline will build you a new mind, and from it, a new life. Let us move forward. Part 5. Every morning is a new war for the throne of your mind. When you open your eyes in the morning, you do not wake into peace. You wake into battle. And that battle is not with the world. It is not with other men. It is with the throne of your own mind. The question that must be answered before your feet touch the ground is this: who will rule today? Every day begins with a silent vacancy. The mental throne awaits a ruler, and it will not remain empty for long. If you do not install your chief aim immediately, then fear will take the throne. Indecision will dress itself in reason. Old complaints will crawl out of the shadows. And by the time you have reached the mirror, you are already ruled by something you did not choose. This is why the first voice must be your own, not the world's, not the doubts, not the voice of yesterday's defeat. The first voice must be your direction, and it must be spoken. Thought is not enough. You must declare. You must command. You must place your definite chief aim on the throne before any other thought dares to rise. Rockefeller began each day with a single sentence: I control my thoughts and my actions. He did not begin with the newspaper. He did not begin with meetings. He began with dominion, because he understood the law. What you do not command will command you. There is no such thing as a neutral mind. It is either directed or invaded. It is either ruled or ruled over. And the only way to rule is to begin before the world speaks. This is the morning battle. This is where most men lose. They check messages before they check mission. They consult emotions before they consult aim. And so they rise, but not in power. They rise in confusion. You must never rise in confusion. Your first act each day is to speak your purpose aloud, not quietly, not vaguely, aloud, with rhythm, with feeling, with repetition. You must install your direction as a fact, not a wish, not a mood, a fact. This is who I am. This is what I build. This is what I expect of myself today. You then repeat your dominant thought. You charge it with feeling. You review the next step in its fulfillment. You see it. You speak it. You feel it. And then, and only then, do you begin to act, not a moment before, because the first command determines the rest of the day. If your first command is strength, then decisions become sharp, reactions become governed, emotion becomes fuel, not a fire. But if your first thought is permission-seeking, if your first emotion is fatigue, if your first speech is hesitation, then you will obey those all day long. Let me say this with no softness. If the first voice you listen to is weakness, you will spend the day apologizing for being alive. You will explain your goals instead of building them. You will ask for encouragement instead of commanding action. You will shrink, not because you had to, but because you failed to rule the morning. No man rises above the first thought he permits to rule. No man acts stronger than the voice that met him first. If you wish to be a master, you must begin with mastery. And mastery begins with repetition. It begins with discipline. It begins with installing your thought before the world installs its noise. The average man reacts to his first emotion. The builder disciplines his first thought. The average man checks his environment. The builder checks his direction. The average man obeys the day. The builder commands it. You will not be the average man. From this day forward, your mornings belong to no one but your chief aim. The throne is yours. The voice is yours. The command is yours. And the law is this: whatever takes the throne first will rule the entire day. Say this now: this day I decide who rules. I speak my purpose first. I install my faith first. I rise in power, not permission. Speak it again. Let it wake you up. Let it move through your chest. Let it become a fire that burns the old patterns to ash. Then act. Begin with one bold motion toward your aim. Write it. Review it. Walk with it. And when resistance comes, and it will, remind yourself, the throne is already taken. My direction has already been chosen. My thoughts have already been ruled. Let no mood dethrone what you installed in discipline. Let no event override what you declared in clarity. Let no person cancel what you spoke in strength. This is not morning routine. This is morning war. And you win it not with comfort, but with command. Let us move forward. Part 6. Repetition is the only way to cement the dominant thought. You do not become what you think once. You become what you repeat. The mind is not transformed by flashes of brilliance, but by the steady hammer of definite thought, struck in rhythm, over and over, until it becomes your nature. Men do not rise by occasional intention. They rise by daily instruction. The world is loud. Life is demanding. Distractions will find you. And unless your aim is repeated, it will be forgotten. This is not a weakness of character. It is a law of nature. The soil does not remember a seed unless you water it, and your mind does not remember your command unless you repeat it. Most men fail, not because they lacked belief, but because they never gave belief a chance to take root. They believed one day and forgot the next. They declared purpose in a moment of strength, then returned to drift the moment the wind changed. They did not lose power. They lost repetition. Lincoln's belief in the preservation of the Union was not a speech. It was a sentence burned into his soul. He repeated it when the war turned against him. He repeated it when his own men doubted him. He repeated it when grief entered his home. That repetition was his anchor, and because of it, he stood when others broke. You must understand this. Repetition builds rhythm. Rhythm becomes identity. Identity creates action. Action produces results, and it all begins with the repeated word. Speak your aim in the morning. That is the beginning. Speak it again at midday. When the world begins to distract you, return to your sentence. And again at night, when the work is done, when you are tired, when the mind drifts, speak it one last time before rest. This is not ceremony, it is construction. 3 times a day, spoken aloud, felt with certainty. This is your new law. The man who speaks his aim once is hopeful. The man who speaks it daily is dangerous because he is no longer guessing who he is commanding it. Let me now give you an image. Picture a man digging a well. The water is not found at the first strike, nor the 5th, nor even the 100th. But if he repeats, if he strikes in rhythm, eventually the stone gives way and water flows. Such is the law of repetition. You dig the same place, you say the same thought, and one day it breaks open. Neglect this law and your mind will be ruled by the world's rhythm. And the rhythm of the world is noise, fear, distraction, comparison, complaint. These are the seeds it sows, and they will grow unless you replace them with a rhythm of your own. When you speak your aim daily, you become immune to noise. You no longer look for approval. You no longer chase new plans. You walk the same path again and again until the earth itself makes way. Repetition is not boring. It is the sound of discipline. It is the sound of certainty. It is the sound of becoming the man you were meant to be. Most men speak too many thoughts. They aim in too many directions. They hope repetition will happen naturally. But nature does not reward the casual man. Nature rewards the deliberate builder. Say this now. I repeat the thought that shapes me. I repeat it until I walk it. I repeat it until I become it. I build by rhythm. I command by law. Let that sentence become your morning. Let it become your music. Let it become your reputation. Because the man who repeats his power cannot help but walk in power. It becomes his tone, his presence, his instinct. He does not wonder if he believes. He speaks it until belief takes over. Let us move forward. Part 7. Drift begins the moment. Your thought loses strength. Drift does not begin with disaster. It begins in silence. It begins when a man forgets to speak his aim, when he lets the thought that once moved him become faint, quiet, background. And in that quiet, something else takes the throne. Drift is the slow collapse of will, not by force, but by neglect. You do not fall because the world is heavy. You fall because your thought grew light. And when your thought grows light, so does your direction. Your speech becomes vague. Your decisions become slow. Your energy disappears. And the fire that once guided you dies, not with a scream, but with a sigh. The builder does not fear hardship, he fears forgetfulness, because he knows once the dominant thought loses its hold, the throne is empty, and the mind does not tolerate emptiness. It will be filled either by purpose or by default, and default is always fear. Even brilliant men, men of talent, clarity, strength, have fallen into ruin because they let a day pass without repetition, a week, a month. And soon the thought that once commanded them became a memory, a phrase, a thing they used to say. And with that silence, drift returned, quiet, persistent, fatal. Fear does not knock, it creeps. It waits, and when your thought loses strength, it re-enters without invitation, first as hesitation, then as excuses, then as a change of plans, then as stagnation dressed as strategy. And by the time the man awakens, years have passed, and the throne is ruled by doubt. I tell you now, you must guard your thought like a soldier guards the gate. You must speak it even when you do not feel it, especially when you do not feel it, because the moment you wait for emotion to return before you repeat, drift has already entered. Let me speak of a man who once built with fire. His business rose, his body was strong, his speech inspired. But as the years passed, he became casual. He spoke his aim less. He stopped writing it. He said he no longer needed repetition. He knew what he believed. And in that confidence, silence returned, then distraction, then comfort, then decline. He did not fall by attack. He fell by silence. The throne does not care how long you ruled it. It must be claimed daily. You must now become vigilant, not just in strength, but in routine. You must train yourself to detect drift the moment your thought weakens. You must catch it in your language, in your tone, in your delay, and you must correct it instantly, with repetition. Speak your aim when you wake. Speak it again when you grow tired. Speak it again when results slow. Speak it again when the mind resists. Because that is when the mind is listening most. Not when it agrees, but when it questions. Say this aloud: I do not drift. I do not sleep in spirit. I walk with my thought held high. I speak my command even in fatigue. I rise above forgetfulness. Say it again. Make it your guard, your alarm, your call to arms. Drift begins where repetition ends. It enters when the throne grows quiet. And it is expelled not with willpower, but with words. Repetition is how you drive out doubt. Speech is how you reinstall identity. Rhythm is how you return to power. Let others sleep in their thoughts. Let others obey their moods. Let others wait for motivation. You will not drift, because your thought will never be silent, and that makes you unstoppable. Let us move forward. Part 8. One thought, repeated until it owns you, will rebuild your entire life. All men are born with minds open to suggestion, but only a few learn to become the suggester of their own identity. Most wait for the world to tell them who they are, and so they live out what others expect, fear what others fear, and die with no idea that they could have been built by one single repeated thought. You do not rise because you are talented. You rise because you are deliberate. You become what you command. You live what you declare. You repeat the thought until it owns you. And once it owns you, it rules every action, directs every hour, sharpens every decision. It becomes your rhythm, your identity, your power. One thought, that's all it takes. Not 10, not 5, not an ocean of ideas. One sentence backed by emotion, charged with decision, installed by speech, spoken until it becomes instinct, until it becomes memory, until it becomes law, until nothing in you opposes it. That is the final law of success. That is the forgotten method of every man who ever rose. Carnegie repeated wealth and organized industry until it became his empire. Edison repeated illumination until it turned to light. Lincoln repeated unity until he breathed it. They were not lucky. They were loyal to one idea. The mistake most men make is trying to believe without repeating, trying to act without installing, trying to grow without speaking. But growth is not accidental. It is planted, and it is watered by repetition. What you speak with feeling, you believe. What you believe, you become. And what you become, you live, whether you meant to or not. Your thought must now become your compass, your code, your constitution. It must not leave your lips only in good times. It must be spoken when your strength is low, when your progress stalls, when the world turns cold. Because repetition is not for the easy moments. It is for the moments that test you. Say this now. This is the thought I choose. This is the truth I repeat. This is the identity I accept. This is the law I obey. This is not motivation. This is law, the law of cosmic habit force. What you repeat with enough feeling long enough becomes fixed. And once fixed, it becomes automatic. And once automatic, it builds without your permission. You do not need to fight for identity once it is built. You need only to repeat it. Let that be your task. Repeat until belief. Believe until action. Act until victory. This is how you rebuild a life. This is how you rise from fear, defeat, doubt, and confusion. You do not wait for rescue. You do not look for strategy. You repeat one commanding thought until your mind obeys and your hands follow. Let me now give you your ritual. Each morning, speak your aim. Speak your identity. Speak your purpose. Let no word be casual. Let no word be rushed. Speak with breath. Speak with command. Speak until you feel the words shape your spine. At midday, return to your sentence. Whisper it, shout it, write it, reinstall it. At night, before rest, speak it again. Over the fatigue, over the noise, over the world's doubts. You are not asking for change. You are commanding it. Repetition is the chisel. Thought is the hammer. Identity is the sculpture. And you are the sculptor. This is no longer theory. This is no longer hope. This is the end of excuses, the end of randomness, the end of spiritual laziness. This is your new mind. This is your new law. This is your new self. Final declaration. This is the thought I choose. This is the truth I repeat. This is the identity I accept. This is the law I obey. I repeat until belief. I believe until action. I act until victory. I do not drift. I do not quit. I do not lose, because I never stop repeating the truth that builds me.